Shalom, friends. Welcome to another shiur in Mesillat Yesharim, the path of the just, written by the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lutzato, 18th century. I'm Eliyahu Shir from Chesed Ve'emet, Masat, www.lovingkindness.co, and we're coming to you from the holy city of Yerushalayim. We're on chapter 1 still, but that's okay. We take each chapter at a slower rate. We want to hear the message that the Ramchal is teaching us. It's so important to life that each paragraph can be contemplated and meditated upon for an hour, 2 hours, and days and weeks, because it is so powerful. Now, we ended off last time in our previous shiur that we were saying that life surely cannot be about this world only. Because as he pointed out over here, how many sorts of distresses and sicknesses, pain and burdens, and after all that, death, he says, not one in 1,000 can be found, to whom this world has granted plenty of pleasures and true contentment. And even such a person, if he reaches the age of 100 years, already is as one who already passed and disappeared from the world. He's pointing out the futility of life. Well, you don't need the Ramchal. None of us need the Ramchal to teach us that. Already Shlomo HaMelech in the book of Kohelet says, Havel Havelim, Havel Havelim, Omar Kohelet HaKol Havel. Kohelet screams out to us and he says, vanity of vanities, says Kohelet. Everything is vanity. And the amount of, Havel Havelim and Havel Havelim, Hakol Havel, if we count the Havelim over there, we see that there is Havel, which is 1, Havelim is 2, which is 3, Havel Havelim, again 2 is another 3, Hakol Havel is another 1, which makes 7. So we've got 3 plus 3 is 6 and 1 is 7. And of course, Shlomo HaMelech is pointing out to us that everything that goes on in this world that has seven days in it is showing us that this is a world of vanity. Everything that happens within the cycle of 7 days is really vanity. So Shlomo HaMelech already taught us that. We only have to study the book of Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, in order to understand the vanity of life. But the Ramchal, as he writes this work on Mussar, is teaching us that if we don't want to go to the source of the ultimate Mussar work, we can read it even in a source like this, more modern to our times, that whatever goes on in this world is really extraneous. What we should be focusing on is the world to come. We need to do things in this world to prepare us for the next world. Let us just read from this point onwards here. V'lo od, not only this, ella, but rather, she'im tachlis brias ha'adam, if the purpose was for a person, haya letzorech ha'olam hazeh, was for this world, lo haya tzarich mipnei zeh, he wouldn't need for this, shetenupach bo neshama kol kach chashuva, that he would need that there would be blown into him a soul which is so important, ve'elyoina, and so superior, so supernal, shetiyeh gedoyle yoter min hamalachim atzmam, that it should be so much greater than even the angels themselves. The Torah tells us that the soul of a person is far greater than the soul of the angel. Of course, by virtue of the fact that it is so much greater, it stands a greater chance of failing also and being dragged down into the physical world through the physical body, the animalistic part of him. But nevertheless, the soul in its essence is far greater even than the angels. How could it be that God would have blown into the body of a person such a supernal soul if all life was about was this physical world? This is not reality. We're making a mistake. We're not animals simply living in the physical world, attending to our animalistic needs and dying. And then who knows what happens afterwards. But we are souls. We are godly souls. We are portions of the godly spirit that comes down into this world, into our bodies, even greater than the angels. Surely it doesn't come down into this world only for the sake of animalistic things. There must surely be a higher purpose for it. We need to know in life what is ikar and what is tafel, what is the main thing and what is extraneous. If we make a mistake and we think that the main thing is this body and we have to attend to all the needs of the body, and perhaps the tafel, the secondary thing, is the soul, we make a mistake. Let me give an example of how we can understand this concept, and we can use this concept wherever we want to in future discussions, wherever we deal with the same idea. A man did something wrong and he was sentenced to prison. They put the man into prison. And in prison, he does something even worse. So the guards come up to the man, as people will know, and they take a ball and chain, a solid metal ball attached to a metal chain, and they clamp it onto his leg. And he walks around now for the next 6 months, as is done in many prisons today even. This is not something that existed then, but it exists today also. And he must walk around in the prison with this ball and chain attached to him. It's an additional punishment. He has to drag this ball and this chain wherever he goes. Who would be the mad person in the world to think that the ball and the chain is what life is all about, and the person that's carrying it is secondary? Now, in prison, when a person finds himself in such a situation, God forbid, he has to take care of his ball and chain. See, because the metal, when it attaches itself onto the person's body, onto the skin, needs to always be clean. If it's not clean, it will make the leg become even infected. And so therefore, if a person wants to do things right, he needs to take care of his ball and chain all the time. But you see, the ball and the chain, that's not the essence of who this person is. In fact, it's a punishment for him. The ball and the chain are there because of something else, and it drags him around, and he can't have the life that he wants to, because the ball and the chain keep him away from the life that he really wants to. But unfortunately, because he has been set back with the ball and the chain, he needs to clean his ball and chain every single day in order that it remains clean so that it doesn't bring an infection on his leg. This is the analogy of the body and the soul. The body, of course, is fantastic, and it's there, and it allows the soul to do whatever it needs to do. But the body is secondary. We have to schlep it along wherever we go so that we can attend to the needs of the soul. It's the soul that wants to escape and do what it needs to do. It doesn't really need the body. The body is in the side that keeps dragging it down. But unfortunately, in order to fulfill God's purpose in the world, he places a body upon us and says, this is your task. You all need to take care of the body. You need to feed it. You need to clothe it. You need to wash it. If you don't, you're not going to last very long. Make sure you take care of it well. But don't think for a second that the body is the purpose of life. The soul is the purpose of life. And the body is a garment that surrounds it, that needs to be treated in order to fulfill its role as God has wanted. Called Shekain, all the more so. Shehi eina motza shum nachas ruach b'kol inugei ze ha'olam. All the more so that the soul does not find any satisfaction, nachas ruach, in all the pleasures in this world. That's right. The soul receives no delight in the physical pleasures of this world. The body, that's different. The body enjoys a piece of chocolate. And the body enjoys great satisfaction when it has a cake, or if it sits in a comfortable chair, or it spends the time in a comfortable jacuzzi. The bubbles are going on around, and the body is delighting in all these things. But the soul has no delight there. Where is the soul's delight? Only in God. So of course we've got a problem here, because the person thinks that he's satisfied, but he makes a mistake. He is satisfied, but it is the body that has been satisfied, not the soul. The soul is still as confused as ever. How many people know such tragic stories of people who are successful in the world? They make lots of money. They have all the delights you could imagine in life, palaces, fancy cars, and they leave this world of their own volition. They choose to leave it. Terrible tragedy, people say. And you wonder, what happened to the person? God forbid. Why did he do this to himself? He had everything, but he makes a mistake. He didn't have everything. He had the delights of the physical body, but he lacked the delights of the soul. And it was the soul that was crying out all the time, saying, I am not satisfied. I need the closeness to the God who created this world. Jew, non-Jew, it makes absolutely no difference. Every soul in this world desires the spirituality of God. This idea of cleaving to the divine, the ecstasy that comes with cleaving to the divine. But when we're in a jacuzzi, or when we're driving a Ferrari at full speed going down the highway, we cannot contemplate God. There is a place for the body to be nourished and enjoy the excitement, the titillation that occurs on the body. It's so exciting. We go to the carnival and we're thrown in a sling from one side of the world to the next as it throws us up into the air. It's so fantastic. A roller coaster up and down. It's so exciting. Who could ask for anything more? And yet the person comes back after the day at the carnival, even if he felt that he had a great time, feels exhausted. He feels, well, what now? Where do I go from here? The physical luxuries, the physical pleasures, this is for the body. But the soul is constantly crying out, what are you doing for me? This is what our rabbis taught us. The Midrash Kohelet, in a Midrash, this is what they say. In Kohelet Rabbah, Perek Vav, and also the soul is not filled, or not fulfilled. Mashal, an example. What is this thing comparable to? This is comparable to a city dweller who married the daughter of the king. If he will bring to this daughter of the king, the princess, everything in the world that he can find. He goes to the store and he buys her the finest things that he sees in the store. It's like nothing to her. It's like marrying the wealthiest woman in the world and a person has no money really. He goes to the store and he buys simple things. He buys her a ring from the general utility store. I don't know why they said sell rings there, simple rings. They cost a few dollars. He gives it to her. What does he expect? She's going to be happy. She's the wealthiest lady in the world. She can buy a diamond ring, the best in the world, with millions of dollars. But the Seironi, he doesn't know about such things. The city dweller, he doesn't have such things. So what does he do? He goes to the general store. He buys this funny looking ring. He gives it to his wife. He says, look, I bought you a present. It's very nice of you. Thanks very much, my husband, for bringing me such a lovely thought out gift. But do you really think this satisfies me? I come from a life so different to you. I don't need these silly things in my life. I need the most beautiful things. She's the daughter of the king. So too is the soul. If you will bring for her, the soul, all the pleasures of the world, give her the jacuzzi, the soul. Give her the slingshot at the carnival, the roller coaster, and the log, and whatever ride it is that you choose. The roto, it's exciting, such a thrill. It's so exciting. Give this to the soul. Einam klumla, it's worth nothing to the soul. Lama, shehi min al-yonim. Why is that? Why is this worth nothing to the soul? And 2 days later, after going to the carnival, the person's in a state of depression. You ask them why, can't explain it. What's going on in your life? Not happy with life. But you were at the carnival the other day. Don't you remember those rides? It was exciting. Don't you remember screaming with joy? Yes, sure. But that's not life. That was a temporary distraction from what life was. But inside me, there's a soul. There's a princess. And the princess is looking for something that it needs because it comes from a very high source. And it needs the nourishment of the source from which it comes from. So our rabbis have said in Pirkei Avot Perek Dalet, Al kochecha ata notzar, against your will you were formed. V'al kochecha ata nolad, and against your will you were born. We recently read in the tractate Eruvin, which is the current tractate being studied in the Daf Yomi for those people who keep to it, and we will say the same words on, I think it's Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, or both of the days. I forget when we say it, maybe Yom Kippur only. I forget exactly which day it is. I have to check. Where at the end of davening, near the end, towards the end of davening, we bring in this teaching that's brought in Gemara Eruvin, which says that Beis Hillel and Beit Shammai had an argument that lasted 4 years. Was it better for man to have been created or not? A big debate in the Beis Midrash of Beis Hillel and Beit Shammai. Was it better for man to have been created or not? And the rabbis decided at the end of the debate, it was better if man had not been created. But since man has been created, he must be careful of what he does. He must watch out. In Pirkei Avot, we see the same teaching. We were created against our will. Our souls were formed from God, not with our permission. We didn't say, can we be created? Just like we didn't tell our parents, could you please give birth to us? We came into this world against our will. And against our will, we were born. Against our will, we were formed. Against our will, we were born. And against our will, we live. And against our will, we die. Every part of the Mishnah is so vital to understanding that there's more to what's going on to who we are. Because this soul does not love this world at all. Remember, let us clarify. The soul does not like the world. The body loves the world. That joy ride at the carnival is fantastic. And those bubbles coming out of the jacuzzi are a miracle. Who doesn't want them? It's fantastic. However, the soul receives no enjoyment from that. Ela adraba, on the contrary, mo'eset bo, the soul inside is weeping. The soul despises these physical luxuries. If you could give the soul a choice behind the influx of Torah wisdom and the connection with God, this deep connection, the spiritual connection, and you gave the soul a choice, either that or to cleave to the jacuzzi, you can rest assured that the soul would say there's no two ways about it. I'd much rather cleave to God. I want that missing gap that exists inside me. There is an opening inside me. I don't know what it is. It's a sickness, and I need to fill it up with something, and I can't tell you what. So go in the jacuzzi, go to the carnival, have a piece of cake. You'll feel much better. Yeah, sure, for a few minutes. But the gap hasn't been filled yet. Until when? The soul despises it. If so, vadai, certainly, lo haya boire haboire yisparach priya letaklis shehu neged kuka v'nimas mimena. It is certain that the creator of the world did not create the creation for this purpose, which goes against the very structure, the very law and essence of who the soul is and what it is despised, that it despises it. In other words, if we think of this great God and he's creating this fantastic soul, power, energy that cleaves to God, is a part of God, it is crazy to think that it is placed into a world filled with luxuries for a body and not a soul. And therefore, we ask the question and say, why then did God in fact create the soul and put it in the body? And the answer, of course, is straightforward. He did this in order to give the soul the opportunity to grow with its body in this physical world, achieve things on its own, repair the physical world at the same time, and out of all of this, it will merit to enter into a higher world after this world, in which it will receive a reward that is commensurate with the great holiness and the great spirituality of who the soul really is. Thanks very much for joining me. I'm Eliyahu Shir. This is the end of our shir for today. My site is at www.lovingkindness.co, coming to you from the holy city of Yerushalayim. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it by clicking on the thumbs up button in YouTube down below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Click on the bell button to be notified of future shiurim, and please share this video with family and friends so they can hear about these shiurim, learn something, grow, and of course, share their own feelings about what they think about this shiur, or any ideas that they have about this Mussar, the quality of the soul, the quality of the body. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think life is really all about? Are you in touch with your soul, or are you in touch with your body? In the meantime, why don't you check out also my site, www.lovingkindness.co, where you can be in touch with me via email, or alternatively, become a member on our site by contributing and taking a part in all the activities that we're involved in, and also allow us to continue to be able to give over these videos, which are given, of course, at no charge to anybody. And you are welcome to join them as much as anybody else. Just send me an email if you like, and I'll put you on the list, and you're welcome to join us live for the shiur. Please feel free to become a member of our site and become a partner in all the activities. And if you have a question, please feel free to send through. I'd be delighted to answer. So thanks for joining me. I look forward to another shiur in the near future. I wish you everything of the best. Shalom, shalom. Bye-bye.